Yeah, hi there. And today I want to talk about the Great Commission. The Great Commission, we find it in Mark 16. We're going to go through the chapter in a minute, but it's very, very important. And I want to lead you into a couple of ideas and concepts of how you can maybe, just as a, not as a great missionary with 10 years training and being fluent in several languages and all that, but as someone who's just all you need to have is just a computer, internet connection, and the vision. I think the vision is more important than anything else. This video is going to be quite long. I've got this presentation, which is a short presentation. I reckon it's going to last about 30 minutes. Then there's about a 1 hour session behind this, which just looks at Google Translate, at how to use and utilize Google Translate. And then there's another session which looks at WordPress, which is just at the end of it. So don't get put off for this long talk. You obviously can move forward or ignore it, or once you get it, just forget it and move on and look at maybe WordPress and other things. So WordPress is just about building websites. Google Translate is how you've got about 100 and something languages available on Google Translate, and you can write something up, explain the gospel in your own words. Look at the country you're looking for to reach out to, or countries, or maybe you want to do a world outreach and utilize all 100 and whatever languages and start building websites or building outlets, information outlets in different languages. Yeah. So it's up to you, but I think it's very important to go through this, and this is what we need to do in these last days. Okay, Mark 16, it's a Great Commission, and this is what Jesus said: go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. And that's really the call we have got, all of us. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter whether you are a young Christian, you are an old Christian. Doesn't matter whether you are able or disabled. Doesn't matter whether you are capable or maybe incapable. The call is valid for all of us. We all need to carry the gospel into the world, wherever we are and whatever we can do. And today we have got the possibility, which probably is unprecedented with any of the generations before us, where everybody, even a child, even if you're just 12 years old, you can tell your story to somebody on the other side of the world you don't know, you've never seen before, in a language you don't understand, and you cannot communicate in, by yourself, with just a few clicks, a few mouse clicks. And that's unprecedented, and that's something you can do today. Okay, I'm trying to operate my... it doesn't work. Here we go. Yeah, it works now. This is Mark 16. Later he appeared to the 11 as they sat at the table, and he rebuked their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they did not believe those who had seen him after he had risen. And he said to them, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will follow those who believe. In my name they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. They will take up serpents. And if they drink anything deadly, it will by no means hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover. So, Great Commission, Mark 16. Mark 16, again, it's in the Gospels, one of the 4 Gospels, the shortest one of of the 4 of them, and it's the last chapter, and this is the last message Jesus had for his disciples: go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. And then he who believes, great. If they're baptized, then they will be saved. If not, they will be condemned. And those who believe, signs will follow them. And we've got casting out demons, speaking with new tongues, taking up serpents, immune to poison, and healing the sick. All interesting stuff. And these are signs which will follow them. Okay, I'm not focusing on the signs, but something you should bear in mind. So, and just pray about them. I mean, Paul talks about, gifts of the Spirit, and, go with it. Go with the flow. But the important thing is to get the gospel out there. The gospel needs to get out there. Okay, we've got another scripture, which is in Matthew 24, and it says, this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to the nations, and then the end will come. Okay, so in Mark 16, it tells us, go out there in all the world and preach the gospel. And in Matthew 24, Jesus talks about the end times before his return. And he says, it will be preached and all the world is a witness to all nations. Yeah. So it will happen. Yeah, we know this. I mean, God is outside of time, so he sees the end from the beginning. He knows what's going to happen. Jesus knew what was going to happen, and it's going to happen. And it's our job to do it. Yeah, that's as simple as it is. So, again, can you preach to all the world? The interesting thing is, in 2020, actually, yes, you can. Yeah, you can through the internet. You can through the technology that's out there on the internet. And there's this possibility that you can reach out to a vast number of people. And I'm not saying that you are the one who reaches out to 6 billion people. What I'm saying, though, is that we all, everybody who's listening, everybody who feels that there's a call upon your life, we need to spend a little bit of time. And basically what I'm trying to say is, you've got a story about how you came to Jesus. You can explain the gospel in very simple terms. You can write it down with the word processor, and it's all free. You can get it free on the internet. You just need a laptop, and you can download OpenOffice for free. Then you can use tools like Google translate it into 100 and odd languages, and you can then, publish it on the internet and just let the seed sit there. And all we need to do is just sow the seed, and some of it falls onto fertile ground, and it'll become very potent, bring lots of fruit. We don't know which ones, but that's not our job. It's God's job to do it, to give the growth and to let fruit come through. Okay, so our job is to go into all the world, preach the gospel, and what else? The prophetic vision of it all is that Jesus knew 2,000 years ago it's gonna happen. And we are not far off. We are getting close. I remember in the year 2000, not in the year 2000, but when was it? It was early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I was almost getting recruited. I didn't in the end, but I was going through the process for a project where, that is in the 90s, where they wanted to produce Christian programs for people groups who speak a language of more than 2,000 people. Yeah, of no less than 2,000 people, and to reach all of these groups by the year 2000. And they thought it was feasible, so they wanted me to go, somewhere in India or Pakistan or someplace, and to go to a small community, track them down, locate Christians, and get them to produce Christian programs so that it could be broadcast out via shortwave. Now, shortwave radio was the technology of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to reach out internationally. Still around today, and it's still a lot of it happening on shortwave. Also a lot of Christian stuff happening on shortwave, but what we have today is the internet. And we find that internet usage is pretty much, every second person in the world has got a smartphone, they reckon now. And it's proliferating, the whole globe. So everybody's got access to information. The thing is, we just need to make sure it's available. And that's our job. We need to put some stuff up there. How we do it and whether it's poor or great, I think, the main thing is to get the message out. It doesn't have to be with, greatest artistic competency to put like a finely dressed message out there. Even though there's nothing wrong with that and it's good. The main thing is to get it out. It's better to get a person into, snatch them out of the grasp of hell with a poorly edited text document and a very poor translation. But the message of the gospel can still be seen and read from this translation of whatever you've written or said. Then to wait until you've got something gloriously put together with fine attire and everything. And but the person never gets to see it because it takes so long for the stuff to get out. So what I'm saying is just get to it and do it. Okay, how do it? So first of all, it's just an idea, and you may have a million other ways of doing this or a million other ideas. But what I want to do is I just want to inspire you or make you think about this and get you into motion. Write down your story of salvation. Write it down in very simple terms, the message of the gospel. Make sure it contains the message of the gospel. And the message of the gospel is fairly straightforward. It's in a nutshell, it is we are sinners. God is holy, He's righteous, we cannot stand before God the way we are, we're going to end up in hell. But God has become flesh in Jesus Christ. He came, lived a perfect life. The punishment we deserve, which is death, He took it upon Himself and He died on the cross. If we believe in Him, that He died for us on the cross, we can have eternal life and we will be forgiven for our sins, and we will become children of God. So that is the thing, and you can look for a couple of scriptures to to explain the message. It's always good, stick lots of scripture in there, and you construct a simple gospel message. Yeah, you can do this in your own ways, and also, I mean, when you find culturally it might be very different. An Eskimo will have a different approach than an African who lives in the jungle, or a Far Eastern person who lives in China and has got loads of tradition, culture, and all the rest of it. And then the next one is ask and answer questions relating to gospel messages, to the gospel. So maybe some people or some cultures are very close to the gospel anyway, and you can pick up on that and get through that. But the main thing is really, number one is you need to pray. Is there a particular nation, in a particular country God wants you to reach out for? Then try and learn as much as you can about this country. Pray about it as well. Get some inspiration from the Holy Spirit of how to approach it and how to construct your message, and then just write it down. Once it's written down, get to Google Translate it into something that's understood in that region of the world where you're trying to reach out to. Construct a little website and leave it out there. That's all you need to do. And if it's a free website, they sometimes stay out there for a long time. They might stay there for years, until the Lord comes back. But people who read this, stumble over it, it might just be enough for them to come to Christ. Okay, next one. Gospel message in a nutshell. I mentioned this before. Number one is there's a God. It's not many gods. It's not like if you go to India, they've got loads and loads of gods. It's God, and He is who He is. The Bible calls Him I Am. So there's no umming and ahhing. He's God. He's just and He's holy. We are fallen and we don't meet the standard God requires of us, and we are evil and God is good. As simple as that. I mean, a lot of people might disagree with that, but that's get this in your story, in your storyline, when you use it as a testimony or a witness. We deserve to die for our wickedness as far as God's justice is concerned. So again, the wages of sin are death. Romans 3, and that's what we are dealing with. We've got a big problem here. We're going to die. We're going to be eternally condemned away from God if we don't do anything about this. And it's not that we can do anything about it, but it's only that we can receive what God has already done for us. And that's really the gospel message. God became man in Jesus Christ and lived a just and sinless life. He was crucified and died, and He shed His blood. Let me just correct this. He shed His blood. That's a typo there, which I didn't see. Let's have a look. Correct it. Slideshow. So let's go down again. Here we go. He was crucified and died and shed. That's the thing, right? I got it wrong. Let me just try and get this right here. This is when you do PowerPoint presentations late at night. It sometimes doesn't go too well. Okay, I fixed it. Let's go down. He was crucified and died and shed His blood for our sins. That's it. We got it. Through faith in His sacrificial death, we can be justified before God. Through accepting Him as our Lord and Savior, we can obtain salvation through faith in Jesus Christ alone. It's only faith. It's no works. There's nothing else we can do. All we can do is put our faith in Jesus Christ. And that is what is our key to salvation, to eternal life, to being forgiven of our sins through repentance. Repentance, again, turning away from our sin and turning towards Jesus Christ. That's a gospel message, and that's what we need to get across. Okay, now the question is, how many nations are there? There are about 230 nations, And they reckon there are about 7,000 spoken languages worldwide. Most nations have an official language which the majority of the people in this nation speak. Internet proliferation is hitting close to 90% worldwide, so people have access to the internet. By 2015, more than half the world's population will be online, so that's an old figure. Okay, but when you take half of the world's population, so somebody will know somebody who's got an internet connection. And so theoretically, you can possibly cover all of the world. We've got a little map down here. We've got internet users in 2015 as a percentage of a country's population. We've got 0 to 9%, and we see right in the heart of Africa, in the middle, proliferation is fairly low. But then when we look elsewhere, it's actually quite high. So again, it's something which is very encouraging, because we can pump the message out, and we've got a good chance to reaching areas which maybe otherwise can't be reached. We look at the world population. 2019, it was estimated to be 7.75 billion. Users worldwide is about 53%. Users in the developing world, 47%. Users in the developed world, 86%. So even in the developing world, they reckon that 41% of the people there have got access to the internet. By 2019, 47%. So that means that even in places where there's very little proliferation, it is possible to get through, and it's possible to get the message through. So again, if you've got a vision for a certain country and you want to reach out, you can work on it from your living room. And it's not even that great a job. It's probably just a Saturday afternoon or something to get something set up and going. Create your gospel story. So you use a word processor and you write your story. Maybe use a photo as well to give a little bit of a personal touch. Or write somebody else's story. Maybe you've got a family member, granny or grandpa, who's got a great story of how he came to Christ. Explain the gospel from the Bible. So again, you don't have to be the top-notch missionary. You just need to know and understand what the gospel means to you and try and communicate it. You would need a laptop or a computer. You would need an internet connection, and you can put it all together. Possibly even just by phone. As well, if you've got a smartphone, it might be enough to record your story and then to publish it. Then we've got translation software, and after this talk, I'll spend about an hour talking about this translation software, introducing you to it, and going through the whole process of writing the story, putting it together, sticking it out on the Google Translate, and getting lots of different files with different languages. So spend about an hour doing this, and obviously don't need to watch an hour, but I'm going to put this after this talk, and it's just at the end of this video. You can forward to it right now, or you can do this later. Google Translate will allow you to translate your story into more than 100 languages. I think I counted about 117, 120. A lot of languages. Most people will be able to understand one of the languages in Google Translate. Not all, but most will. Bearing in mind, sort of, when you, for example, if you go to Southern America, the Amazonas, that even in the middle of the bush, the indigenous people, loads of them, they don't just speak the indigenous language, which will be a problem to reach out to, but most of them speak Spanish as well, or have a certain command of Spanish. Then you create a PDF or an HTML document with your story and all the translations. Publicize the document on the internet, and there are free platforms. So it doesn't even need to cost you anything. There's Tumblr, there's Facebook, there's WordPress, and lots of others. I'm going to give you a list of free website creators in a minute. So there's some advertising on it, but I'm sure you can live with that. But the thing is, it's available, it's out there, and you can use it. And I heard a figure that the vast majority of internet traffic is all used for pornography, which is pretty disturbing. And it's people just trying to get addicted to stuff. They are feeding their, and I mean this in a negative sense, their flesh, from a Christian perspective. But the internet is a great tool. We can communicate with strangers all over the world, and within an instant, And we can leave stuff on the internet and make it available and accessible to others. And why not, use it for this? So go for it. That's my suggestion to you. Build something up, build platforms up, and even if we've already got 50,648 platforms already. I don't know. I'm just pulling a number out of the back of my mind. It doesn't harm to put another platform out there. It doesn't harm to flood the internet with gospel stories. Yeah. We need this because we are talking about the eternity of people and people getting lost and ending up in hell. And ideally we should reverse the trend from, and maybe you've got some good ideas as well to make it really interesting, but we should reverse the trend from people heading to bad websites and getting addicted to bad stuff, ultimately ending up in hell. We should reverse the use of the internet to people finding and stumbling over the gospel, trying and wanting to reach out to Jesus Christ and having a new beginning and a new start in Jesus Christ, and finding peace, happiness, tranquility even amidst greatest turmoil, and becoming children of God, heading towards a blissful eternity. Yeah, it's far better, I think. Okay, this is the Google website. It's just a screenshot I've taken, and you can see all the languages which are there. Yeah. Loads of them, absolutely loads of them. So all you need is Google or translate google.com, and then you've got all these languages which are there. And my suggestion to you is just pray about it. Pray about it and see what fits in with your vision, or what vision is God giving you. What is God placing on your heart? Do a little bit of research on the internet about your target group and try and adapt it so that people within this target group will be able to relate to your experience. Okay. I'm gonna, right at the end of this talk, so I think it's gonna end up to be about 3 hours long or something. I've got a session on WordPress. I've used WordPress many times before, but they've changed over the years, and the menus are not quite as intuitive as I wish them to be. But it's something you can sort of get your head around it, and just watch the mouse. It's free. You have to watch out for. They always try and coax you into paying, but you can have a website standing up there for free, and yeah. You just need to, it's a little fiddly, takes a little bit of time to get your head around it. Once you've done it, you can become proficient within a very short time, and maybe use it for other stuff as well. Use it if you've got a business, use it for your business or other things. But it's actually good, it works very well. And yeah, my suggestion to you is just go for it. There's also tumblr.com. It's a blogging website, so you can create an account and you can put it on there. I'm not sure how good they are, whether Google picks up on it. I think you have to be a Tumblr member to watch the Tumblr stuff, but it's free. And it probably takes you about, once you've written your document anyway and you've put it on WordPress or another free website place, only takes about 5 minutes to stick it on Tumblr. Yeah. And people comment on it, or they go around. Again, I'm not sure how well it's used, but it's for the sake of 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. You can have your story on there as well. There's been interest as well, so then we've got other options where to place it. MySpace.com used to be very popular a long time ago, but it went downhill and I think was overtaken by Facebook. We've got InfinityFree.net. It's a free website hosting place. I haven't tried it out. I was just looking and trying to get some. Then there's Googie, not Google, but GoogieHost.com. GoogieHost.com. Freehostingoats.net, and then look for blogging sites. This is just like a small list of free stuff that's out there and you can use, where you can create a website. And again, I'm not saying that this is a be-all and end-all and this is a way to go for it, but it's just one way of doing it and parking it out there. And again, you have to bear in mind, you spend about an afternoon, putting your story into words, sticking it on a website, making it accessible for millions of people, and that's it, So there might be one person who reads it and stumbles over it and comes to Christ. There may be millions, you don't know. But the main thing is we need to put some stuff out there. We need to make sure that the internet is full of Christian materials. Right. What else have you got? What else to add to your new website? Try to find a public domain, Bibles in different languages to place them on the site. So you can do that. I've done it on Seismic Radio. There's a section where I've got different websites, and I try to find Bibles which are in the public domain. It's very important. Otherwise, you can get in trouble with copyright people. And I stuck them on there so people can just download them and read them. Try to look for public domain Christian books in different languages. This might be an idea as well, just to stick them on there in your target language. Look for audio and video files in different languages. And it's a thing as well, when you go on YouTube, there are tons and tons of materials in all sorts of languages. You should normally ask the permission of the owner to publicize it on your website or to link it with your website. But again, there's loads of stuff out there. Yeah, or you can just encourage people to go to YouTube, to a certain place where this particular video is. Yeah. And again, what's important is I'm just sort of trying to give you an idea of what to do. I mean, pray whether to focus on a particular language and how to build up the site. Whether you should have one language, two languages. Maybe you want to cover all of the world. I mean, I thought about this and I thought, yeah, this would be a good idea. Have one file, just a simple text file, and stick it up there in 100 languages. I'm not sure how successful it would be, how many people would look at this, but might be an interesting project, just to stick it out there. Let people see what it is, and I don't know. Yeah. Or you might, start building up a site with targeting just one area, one people group, and putting, as much as you can find for this area together and sticking it out there. I mean, you'll be surprised as well how many people will access it. Google is going to find onto it, and if people are desperate, and bear in mind there's a divine element as well, God is going to lead people to these websites whom He's calling and whom He has chosen. And it's our job to just sow the seeds and make the seeds available. And that's really what we should be doing. Okay, is this the last slide? I'm not sure. It might be. No, there's a few more slides. A couple of more slides. Also, ask yourself, do you want to be pastoral or purely evangelistic? Yeah, is it a seed side? So seed, I'm not talking about like the prosperity preachers, give me money and you'll be rich. This is heresy, by the way. Don't ever fall into this thing. But what I mean is, all you do is you just sow seeds. Yeah, you just put the site. Don't put any contact details up. Don't put anything up. Just leave it out there, and let the seeds just be thrown. Yeah, not knowing what's going to happen. You'll only know on the other side in eternity whether anybody came to Christ on account of your site or not. Obviously, you can make it pastoral as well. You can put your links in there and make it possible for people to contact you. And if you do it that way, then it might take a lot of time. And again, it's important to pray about it, to have a vision for it. Do you want it evangelistic as well? Not pastoral, but purely evangelistic. If it's pastoral, you also have to bear in mind there are a lot of people who are genuine and they've got genuine issues, and you start engaging with them. There are also a lot of people who try to take you for a ride and to try to take advantage of you or waste your time. And that's something you need to be aware of before you embark on the pastoral route. Make sure you've got the vision from the Lord to go down this route if you choose to do so. But for example, I mean, years ago when I went to church, and this was sort of going back in late 80s, it was sort of a common thing that everybody needed to have a vision. Yeah. Oh, I want to go to Russia. I'm going to go there. I had a friend who said, "Oh, I'm going to be a missionary in Spain because that's what I'm going to do." And you look at some of those people, and they had no language skills, nothing, and you think, is it ever going to happen? And with many of them, it didn't happen. But the thing is, if God puts you a burden on your heart, and this burden is not, imagined, but it's genuinely from God, this is one way of doing this. You can be a missionary in Russia, not knowing a single word in Russian. You can be, and I mean, I'm not saying that's a good thing. If you can learn a little bit of Russian, if this is your vision, prepare yourself adequately. If you can, but again, time is short. Yeah, and there might just be this one country like Indonesia, Japan, or any of those countries where you want to reach out to, and you have got the tools all available to you. They are all on your laptop. All you need to do is just tap into them. Okay. Create and leave the site, so that might be one thing. You create it and just leave it standing there. Just wait for eternity. maybe visit it every now and then, make sure it's still out there. Save all the data you put on the site so you can create it again if it gets pulled. Images to enhance the site, good idea as well, but always make sure about copyright. They can get you on that. Also, they can pull the site if they feel, that there's copyright infringement. And then we've got audio and music, and again, the copyright thing, and video embedding as well. So if you've got some stuff on YouTube, which is good, or maybe you can create your own videos. Maybe if you work within church in a youth group, you can create some stuff. But again, try and go for it. Try and, first of all, formulate your vision. And then once you've got your vision, then, pray about it and pray about how to do it, and then just put your hands to it and do it. Okay, publish, and then what? Search engines will scan the site. Yeah. So you've done all your stuff, you've published the website, everything is up, and what now? Yeah. Now search engines, they will scan the site. Yeah. So if you put lots of keywords in there which are relevant to somebody who might be looking for God, they will stumble over it, and if the site is interesting, relevant, and there are lots of search terms in there, people might just fall onto the website. You might do it the other way around, enhance it. A lot of people go onto YouTube, on Facebook, and things like that. Put something for the target nation in there. If it's Nepal, maybe a greeting message to Nepal, or something like that. Yeah, so that a Nepalese person might go onto that, and then link to your website within YouTube, so you can direct traffic that way. Search engines will do it as well, but obviously there's a lot of stuff out there, and that is sometimes a problem. So if people put something in, they might not necessarily get what they're looking for, but that's sometimes a problem. Anyway, somebody looking for God may stumble over your site. Souls may get saved. It is an exercise of casting the bread upon the waters, and that's a quote from the book of Ecclesiastes. And in there it states, "Cast your bread upon the waters, and after many days you will find it again." So the whole idea is you sometimes invest into something which you haven't got a clue whether it's going to work or not. Just do it, go for it, and then maybe one day you will find the result. The day for us is going to be in eternity. The last one is, the more of us do it, the more the message will become available on the net. That's important as well. We need to have Christians being active on the web in a positive way, producing stuff, producing content, and it's happening anyway, but I'm just saying, don't just rely on the others doing it. Maybe you should do it yourself as well, and it's not that hard to do. Last one, why do it? We have to do it as we are called to do it. It's as simple as that. The Great Commission: go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. That's it. That's a message, and that's for you, for me, for everybody else. And I think, as Christians over 2,000 years, we haven't really done an awful lot. It all started with with sort of the revivals in the 1700s, 1800s, where people suddenly thought, oh, we've got all these Indians and people in the Far East, who've never heard the gospel, and people started going out there as missionaries to preach the gospel. The Catholic Church did an awful lot as well, in South America and places like that. The sad thing is they didn't bring the pure gospel. They brought a message about Jesus which was somewhat corrupted, but not the pure gospel, which is sad. But again, evangelical missionaries went out as well, and they did a lot, far and wide. But the call is still standing, and the thing is, there's not much excuse today. You can do it. All you need is just time. That's one thing. Laptop, web processor is free. A website's free. Google Translate's free. YouTube is free. And there are lots of other websites. And one day there are a lot of these websites are getting censored now, and it's getting more and more difficult to get Christian material out there. But what we can do is there are lots of alternatives as well to YouTube and to other platforms. And what we do is just jump from one platform to the next. That's what the Christians did in the first century. They got persecuted in one area, they went to the next, and they took the gospel with them, and the gospel started spreading in areas which otherwise, without persecution, probably would not have spread to that extent. Okay, in the end, souls will be saved, and that's what it's all about. It's number one is we are called to do it. We love people, we love people worldwide. We want people to know the truth. We know the majority is going to reject it, but it's not about the majority, it's about the one who will receive Jesus Christ. Remember, we sow the seed. That's important. That's all we asked to do, is sow the seed, preach the gospel. We're not asked to convert people. We're asked to preach the gospel. God will bring the growth and the fruit. Yeah. So if we preach the gospel, God will bring about salvation in people's lives. And the fruit will come as well. And it's all for eternity. Okay, so this is the first talk. I'm not sure how long I've been talking now. Quite long, I think. The next video is just about Google Translate and how to use it. It's about 50 odd minutes long. And again, just look at it, and once you get the gist, you are done, and then move on. Then the following video is just looking at WordPress and how to use WordPress, the free option of WordPress to go to. And I have to say, I'm not... The video is also about 50 odd minutes long. I'm not that familiar with WordPress. I've used it a few years ago in a different format, not the free version, but I used it on a normal website. And I used one particular template, and I knew my way around the template reasonably well, so I could, get it to do what I wanted it to do. With this version of WordPress, it's a little bit different, and I'm not that familiar with it either. But I've been sort of working my way through, and all I'm trying to do is to set you off. Once you're on your way, I'm sure you can sort the rest out yourself. So the whole video is probably going to be 2.5, 3 hours long, so obviously you don't have to watch everything and don't go for it, but it's just to introduce you to the whole sphere of doing things. The next thing, the last thing before I move over to the next video is, I just want to thank you to, tune in so far. I really want to encourage you to utilize the technology available to us to preach the Word of God and to get the message out there. And maybe just one more point. If you get some video capturing software, this is what I'm using here. There's lots of it out there. I have to look at some free versions, maybe introduce one or two. You can actually, just write your story, have the video capturing software, read it out record everything on Google Translate, and then use Google Translate to actually read out the text. And you can create audio files as well. You can stick the audio files on the website. You can set up your own little radio outlet with a radio player. It's very, very cheap to do it. Don't think it's free, but it's sort of a couple of dollars a month. And what else can you do? You can just create a video, stick it up, slap it up on YouTube, or any of the other outlets which are coming up now. There's like BitChute and Vimeo and lots of others you might want to use as well. Bearing in mind that there's a lot of censorship and a lot of other stuff going on. And then obviously you can be creative and make it a bit more interesting as well. So this is a little talk about the Great Commission. Let's do it, let's go for it. Let's do it for the glory of God and, get people into the kingdom. God bless and bye-bye, and stay tuned for the next YouTube talk. Not YouTube, the Google Translate. And then we've got the WordPress as well, right at the end of this. So if you forward it, and on YouTube, you'll eventually see it. Okay, for now, that's all here for this particular presentation. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so I've written a testimony, small testimony, and I'm just going to read it to you, and then you can, write something like that, and to tell your own story on how you came to Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm just going to read it to you, and then I'll show you how you can possibly use this testimony as, or not this, but your own testimony as a way to reach out to people for Christ. Okay, right, here we go. My name is Michael Schomborn, and this is my story on how I came to be a Christian. I was born into a Catholic family, and as a child pretty much absorbed everything. I was a good Catholic, and I learned everything about Jesus Christ and became familiar with Catholic traditions. I got very much absorbed within the Catholic Church system. Over time I understood that what I read in the Gospels and the way the church was run didn't tally up. The clergy reminded me more of the Pharisees than the disciples of Christ. As I hit my teenage years, I lost my vision and trust for the church, but was still a great fan of Jesus. In my quest for life and finding my identity, I tried to embrace a culture of the 80s with all its excesses, but instead of finding happiness, I fell into depression. Eventually I ended up in a political fringe party. Despite my rotten lifestyle, I still believed in Christ and never let loose of my faith in him, even though I did not understand the essential message of the gospel or anything about real Christianity. When I was 16, I met some Christians who had come to town and started preaching the gospel message. They attend meetings in the middle of town, and I began attending those meetings, and I felt the presence of God among them. I didn't really understand the message, but just knew that God was there. One evening someone talked to me and asked me to make a decision to follow Jesus. Somehow I knew that this was serious, and I tried to make excuses to leave, but he told me that it would only take a few minutes to give my life to Jesus, and it would make a difference for the rest of my life. In that moment it was like God was talking to me, and I could see my future life in front of my inner eyes. If I said no, and what would happen if I said yes. I did like my future life with a no response, but I didn't like at all what my life would become if I said yes. Saying no would allow me to carry on my rebellious life with all its excesses, but saying yes would mean to be, let me see, I got this wrong, would mean to be a good boy, just doing the right stuff and being inherently boring. I didn't like that at all. I then thought if I reject this offer God is giving me, I would deceive myself for the rest of my life and just follow a lie. If I said yes, I would embrace the truth for the rest of my life. So I did say yes, and I didn't like it one bit, but I knew I had to do it. A bunch of people came together and prayed for me, and something happened. It felt like a big burden had lifted from me, and I felt what is described in the Gospels of John in chapter 3, which is something like rebirth. I was new. Within seconds I turned from a depressed person to a person that was happy with a big smile. I didn't tell anybody what had happened, and people started to worry. Some suggested that I had gone onto heavy drugs. With hindsight, I know what happened. The burden of sin was lifted off of me, and my depression left me. I found salvation as I called on the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I became a new creature. The old was gone, but everything is new. On that day, my walk with the Lord began in earnest. This day is now 37 years ago, and I've never regretted it. On the contrary, I came to Christ thinking that I would lose my youth and say goodbye to fun, but God has given me many times over to what I thought I would have lost. I've seen the world and visited many countries and did things in my youth I could have just dreamt of. Let me just change this a little. I could have just dreamt of otherwise. Looking back, my life has been very different to the normal, and I'm grateful to the way the Lord has led me these last 37 years. And I'm looking forward to however many years are left. The core of the gospel message is that we are all sinners and do not meet the standard God is expecting of us. In God we have someone who is absolutely holy and righteous, but also loving. Let me just use a capital letter. To make a way for us, he became flesh in Jesus Christ and suffered the penalty which we deserve, so that if we put our trust in Jesus Christ, and that the blood he shed on the cross is for our salvation and forgiveness of sins, and I need to turn this on, we will find salvation. Receiving this will reconcile us to God, and the barrier created through our own sin is pulled down, and we can become children of God. God so much loved this world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but has everlasting life. Okay, so that's my story. It's a very simple gospel message. And it's not much to it. It's just a simple gospel message. It took me about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour to put it all together. And obviously you could, put a lot more Bible verses in there and explain a bit more, but all it is meant to be is just a story, And And it's a real story. It's what I experienced, and nobody can take this away from me. And somebody else might relate to that. Maybe somebody who was also a child of the 80s and, you know, went through all the stuff that was going on in those years. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to copy it. Yeah. And right, I'm gonna use Tumblr. I've got a Tumblr account. You can see a picture of myself here as well. And I just put it down, How I Found Jesus. That's the title. Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm going to put my text here. I'm going to paste it all. Yeah. And that's it, you know. That's it. And I'm just going to post it. I'm not sure how many people are going to read it. I can put it on a website as well. Let's have a look. And here we go. I've written some other stuff as well. This is about carbon and so on. Now, the main thing is when you put it on a blogging site, eventually it's going to be tagged by, not tagged, but it's going to be scanned by Google and Lycos and other search engines, and stuff might go there, and you might publicize something like this on Facebook or elsewhere. Yeah? So plenty of opportunities to do that. Okay, let's go back to the text. Yeah, and right, let me just show you what you can do now with this. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to go to translate google.com, and I'm not sure whether it's going to translate the whole text because there are limits to it. So the text is in English, and let's say you want to publicize it in Russian. Let's have a look. Does it go all the way down? Yeah, Joanna 3:16. So that's now the same text in Russian. What I would recommend to do is get the text and translate it back into English to see whether it's making sense. It's very important. Okay. Right. Let's. I don't need to highlight the whole thing. Let me just. I just click on this down here, copy translation. So translation is copied, and now I can go into my documents and I can open up another page. Let's have a look. Open up new text document. Yeah. Okay, I need to pull this across here. Okay, so now I've got the same text in Russian. So I'm going to paste it down. That's my text in Russian. Yeah. So I can now, even though, I mean, I speak a little bit of Russian, and I can read a little bit as well. I'm not very good at it. And in no way could I... Меня зовут Michael Schomburn. И это моя история о том, как я стал Christian. And I'm hitting my limits here. Okay. This is in Russian now. Okay, so I can do this in Russian, and I can maybe just create a website, stick it on the website, put a little Russian flag on it. Okay, let's go back to my English version. Let me see. Let me go back to the translation software. Okay, so we've got translation. So what I can do now is I can, for example, click on Spanish here. Yeah? So now all this is in Spanish. Straight away, I mean, I've got it in English, I've got it in Spanish. So South America, pretty much. I've got all of South America, obviously Spain as well. Places like Mozambique, Angola in Africa, they speak Spanish. Okay, let's. All I need to do is just go down here. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put it back into my text document. I'm going to click on New Text Document. Here we go. I'm operating here with two windows, two monitors, and so it always puts it on the other screen, but so you can see this here. So I'm just going to click on Paste. I'm going to do a few more languages so you can see how easy it is. So now I've got my testimony in Spanish. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure how close it is, but bearing in mind, you know, if it's if it doesn't fit, it's not. We are just sowing seeds, yeah, and these are real seeds. They're not seeds, you know, you hear on the prosperity gospel preacher circuit, but these are seeds which potentially might lead people to Jesus Christ. Or it might be just one of many aspects, you know, that leads them there. Probably not the only one, but you can do this as well, and you can do this in many languages. And bearing in mind, we are called to preach the gospel to all nations. Okay, let me just have another language here. Let's do Portuguese as well. Let's have a look. Portuguese. And you can see you've got all the languages here. That's about 100 and something languages we can use. We've got Portuguese here. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is the Portuguese language. And let's pull up the file, new text document. I have to push it across again, and Portuguese, paste. Okay, I should probably start saving these files. Anyway, we're going to do this later. Yeah. What I'm going to do is just right at the top of the so I don't forget which one it is. Portuguese. Yeah. And then Spanish. So I know what we are dealing with. Spanish. Right. Okay, let's have a look. So far we have got English. So English, pretty much everybody, a lot of people speak English. German is a big language, and obviously I understand German very well. Let's see what it does in German. Right. I could have written it in German as well. Okay, let's read it through in German. Let's see, mein Name ist Michael Schwimmern und dies, even the Umlaut. Und dies ist meine Geschichte darüber, wie ich Christ wurde. Ich wurde in eine katholische Kirche hineingeboren und ich habe als Kind so ziemlich alles aufgenommen. Ich war ein guter Katholik und lernte alles über Jesus Christus und wurde mit katholischen Traditionen vertraut. Ich habe mich sehr in das katholische Kirchensystem vertieft. Mit der Zeit verstand ich, dass das, was ich in den Evangelien las und wie die Kirche geführt wurde, nicht stimmte, nicht übereinstimmte. Ja, das können wir noch wechseln. Naja. Auf jeden Fall, das ist jetzt, this is in German, yeah, and again we can put this into German. Right. What's happening here? Yeah. So, new document, new text document, put this over here. This one I don't need to write down what it is, I should recognize it. Okay, so now we've got this in German. Okay. Right, let's have a look. What other languages have we got? So we've done that. What's another big language? Hindi might be quite important. Yeah? So let's put it down in Hindi. Okay, so we've got now the whole story in Hindi. Yeah. Okay, I obviously can't read it. No idea what I've got here. I don't even know whether the word processor is going to take it, but we're going to try it out. See, so we're going to have another new document. New text document. So that's for people in India. They desperately need the gospel. So let's write down Hindi. And let's see whether the word processor can take it. Paste. Yeah, can take it. So we've got the gospel in Hindi. Oh, not the gospel, just my story in Hindi. Okay, let's carry on. See what other languages we have. We've got another. Oops, didn't want this. Got another group which is obviously Chinese. There are about 1 billion people in China. So we use simplified Chinese. We've got 2 Chinese, I think. We've got traditional and simplified. Let's try simplified Chinese. Okay. No idea what this is. Okay, we've got all this stuff as well. I haven't got a clue. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're just going to copy the whole thing. We can see this is in Latin letters. This is in Chinese symbols. No idea whether that makes sense, but again, we're going to try our word processor, see whether this is an open source word processor. It's called OpenOffice, and so I'm going to open up a new text document, and it's free as well, so you can download it from the internet. OpenOffice, just Google it. You can install it, and you don't have to pay. It's open source software, so you don't have to pay for it, and simply find Chinese. Okay, let's stick it in there. Okay, so it's done it all. I again haven't got a clue whether it's right or not. I just have to trust the software, but this is a thing. It's available for you to use the software, and why not? You know, it's interesting as well. It didn't use the this Latin version. Can we use it as well? Stick it underneath. I'm not sure whether that makes any sense, whether Chinese people would actually read this, but let's put up the document again. Okay, so again, we're just putting it as a web page. Paste. So this will be the Chinese text. Okay, right. Okay, let's have a look what other languages we've got and which we can use. I mean, you get the gist now, so I don't want to spend too much time on here. But it's something for you to pray about, you know. Maybe just have a look at this list and see where you want to really, you know, reach out to. So there are a lot of languages which are there. Latin, I mean, who speaks Latin today? A lot of people have learned it, I'm sure. Hebrew might be interesting as well. Again, you know, God is turning to his people in the last days, his people Israel, and here we've got it in Hebrew. Okay, let's do it in Hebrew. Let's see whether our software will cope with that. Okay, gonna come up with this new file, text document. Just put down. I'll just move it all over across here on the main screen so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. I'm just gonna write down Hebrew. And click on paste. So we've got it in Hebrew now, the text as well. Yeah. So one thing I would like to do is sort of print it out in PDF file format. Goes outside the frame here, but that's okay. I think it's still readable. put it in PDF file format, and then stick it on web pages. Most people will be able to read PDF files. Browsers tend to be able to interpret them and to read them. So I've got a little bit of a story here. Just trying to think. There's no vowels in this Hebrew here. Anyway, right. We're going to give it maybe one more. Arabic might be good as well, because a lot of people speak Arabic. And again, I mean, if you look here, all the different languages we've got, and also look at people which are not reached at all. You know? Right, let me just have a look for Arabic. Arabic is here. You know? So let's see what it comes up with. Here we go. There it is in Arabic. Yeah, we've got a transcript as well. Interesting. Okay, so far we're just gonna put it in Arabic, and I'm gonna make one more file, and then I'll have a look at all the other languages which are there. Right. And again, we're gonna go to File, New, Text Document. I'm gonna move it across here. And put it in. Paste. So again, we've got the whole text here in Arabic. Okay. Right. I'm just going to look at all the languages which are there, and then maybe talk about groups which certainly need reaching out to. And this might be your job, you know, your job to reach out to different different nations, and maybe to all of them, you know, if you want to do this. Okay, Afrikaans is South Africa. Albanian. Albania used to. A lot of Muslim people there. It used to, in the communist era, used to boast to be the only atheistic country in the world, which is 100% atheistic. There might be an argument to reach out to those guys as well. Amharic, I'm not sure. Armenian, Christian nation. Azerbaijani, it's next door to. Azerbaijan is next door to Armenia. They're all Muslims. They need to hear the gospel for sure. Basque is in Spain. Very Catholic, so maybe my testimony might be good for them to could identify, possibly because I'm a fellow Catholic who became a Christian, you know, who left the Catholic faith to follow Jesus. Bengali, it's again in Bangladesh, Muslim country. Bosnian, Muslim country. Bulgaria. Traditionally, there used to be a lot of Christians there as well. No idea what this language is, so this one. Corsica, I'm sure they will be able to understand French. Croatia, Catholic country as well. Czech. Okay, then we've got Danish, Dutch, English, Esperanto. Esperanto is a made-up language. There's nobody learns, at least not that I'm aware of, Esperanto from being little. It's a language that was put together from common languages, and they thought it was going to be the future European language, but it never really took off. And what you find today is you've got like little Esperanto groups, gatherings where people who have learned the language get together to speak in the language. But to be fair, you know, if you produce something in this language, let's do it. Let's do it. If you produce something in Esperanto, you probably might get a lot of people reading it because it's in Esperanto. It looks a bit like Spanish, doesn't it? weird language. My granddad actually used to be able to speak it, and he was teaching it, I think. Okay, let me just go down. You might actually find, because there's not that much stuff written in Esperanto, that that a lot more people are gonna read it. I don't know, but why not? You know, all it is how much does it take? A minute to put the text into Esperanto. Let's put this up here. So I have to write this down, because otherwise I might mistake it for Spanish or something. I once sort of spoke to a guy, went to an Esperanto conference in Wales, I think it was, here in the United Kingdom. There was one business in my hometown in Germany where Esperanto was spoken, and they made a big thing about it. No idea whether anybody would read it, but here we go. Let's go back to the languages and see what other languages we've got here. Okay, let's open this up. So we've got Estonian, Filipino, lots of Christians there, Finnish, French. Interesting as well, France is probably one of the least evangelized areas, yeah. And it's actually quite dire. I once met a missionary from here in England who was going to Normandy to preach the gospel, and there are real needs in France, and it's maybe something for you to pray about, and maybe to produce something like this. Let's do it, because they really need it. The French need the gospel. Yeah, there's no question about it. Okay, here we've got it in French. Yeah, I actually speak a little bit of French. Je m'appelle Michael Schumann et voici mon histoire sur la façon dont je suis devenu chrétien. Okay, no, it's a long time ago since I did it, or when I did it. Okay, so we copy it, and then we do the same thing again. And click on new. Okay, so we've done it. So that's, oops, I went on the other page. Yeah. So this is where I just copied the page in. I mean, you've seen it many times before. I just I should recognize it when I do this. I'm just going to put down French. And then later on I'll save all these files and make sure it's there. Okay, let's go back to the translation. Look at some of the other languages which are on there. Right. Okay, Frisian. That's spoken in the Netherlands, in the northern coastal regions of the Netherlands and Germany. Right, Galician, not sure. Georgian, German, Greek, Gujarati. Gujarati is again in India. Creole, Hausa. Hausa I think is African. Hawaiian, Hebrew, Hindi. We did Hindi. Hmong, no idea. Icelandic, Igbo, Indonesian. Indonesia is maybe again a big need there, even though there are a lot of Christians in Indonesia. But it's a very, I think it's the biggest Islamic country, population-wise, that there is, Indonesia. Okay, let's do the same thing and copy, and then we're gonna open up a new page here. I'm gonna do it quickly now. New. So we've got it here. You've seen it about 100 times, but I'm just sort of trying to make a point, to look at all these things which are there, all the languages, also to pray about it. Which language should you focus on. Also, it might be important to make it relevant. If you've got a burden for a certain country, just pray on how you write your story. Computer's getting slow now because I've got so many pages open. Pray about it, how to write your story that it resonates with the people. But ultimately we know it's not, us, how we do this, but it's really God. Okay, we've got Irish. That's interesting. It must be like a Gaelic dialect. Italian, Japanese. Japan, one of the least evangelized nations in the world. Kazakh, Khmer, that's Cambodia, Korean, Kurdish, Kyrgyz, Lao. Not sure what that is. Latin should be interesting as well. I wonder whether anybody would read it in Latin. Luxembourgish. It's like a German dialect, I think. Shall we try it? Let's try it. Let's see whether it comes up. Mein Name as Michael Schumann endet as mein Geschicht wie ich Christ bin. Yeah, it sounds sort of like a German dialect. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to go through other languages we've got here. Maori, New Zealand people, Mongolian. That might be quite important as well. I'm sure there's not much out there Mongolian. So if you've got a story in Mongolian, I'm sure the search engines would pick up on it when people are looking for stuff there. Punjabi as well. Punjabi, there's Indian and Pakistani way of writing. Let's have a look, see what it comes out with. That's the Indian way of Indian version of Punjabi. Okay, so now we know. Right. Let's look at some other languages. We've got Romanian, Russian. We looked at Russian, Scots Gaelic. I mean, to be fair, most of them would speak English without a problem. Shona is an African language, Sindhi. Have we got Swahili? That should be interesting as well. Sinhala. Swahili is down here. So that's an African trading language, which is widely spoken. Tajik, interesting as well. We've got Tamil, Thai, Turkish. Very much a need, Turkish. There are not many Christians out there. Urdu, that's probably what's in Pakistan. Let's click on Urdu and see what it does. Yeah, so that's the, I think it's like Arab script. But that's Urdu, so people in Pakistan will be able to read it. Have a look. A few more. What else have we got? We've got Welsh, Xhosa Yiddish, and Zulu. Yeah. Again, there are a lot of languages here. And if you look at key languages which are here, or you're just trying to reach out to minorities where there's a very, like in the 1040 window, I don't know whether you heard about this, this is between 40 degrees latitude and 10 degrees latitude, so just north of the equator, which is supposedly the, not supposedly, but genuinely is the least reached area for the gospel. And let's have a look. I can show you the 1040 window. Let's see what it comes out with. 1040 window. And then look at some images. Yeah. So you can see the maps which are there. Comes up with windows actually. We've got some here, some stuff here. Window. Okay, this is a so-called 1040 window. Let's have a look. Let's come up with this one here. And it looks at nations. So we've got about 40 degrees, which is up here somewhere. And then 10 degrees north, which is sort of this region here. And normally this is considered to be the least reached areas. And we've got all the countries which missionary, from a missionary point of view, have been a big problem. So we've got Japan, we've got India, Pakistan, China. We've got all the Indo-Chinese region down here. The Northern African countries, which mostly have been Islamized. And then we've got the Arab Peninsula, including Turkey. So yeah, that all fits in here. That's the so-called 1040 window. And it's a big challenge. So you might decide to just identify what languages are spoken here. So we've got Arabic here, Turkish here, this is Farsi, then here we've got Urdu, Urdu here. This is Afghanistan, so it's Pashtun. I'm not sure, I haven't seen it on there on Google Translate. But some may understand Farsi. Then we've got Chinese here, we've got Nepalese. Then I recognize some languages like Khmer in Cambodia. Down here is Vietnam, Vietnamese is on there as well. So there are some of the languages which are spoken in this region. They are available, and you might decide to just create a website to put a page up in that particular language, making sure that the search engines kick in. So if anybody from that region plays about on the internet and is looking for God, trying to find out about Jesus, they might look into this and they might latch onto it. Okay, the next stage I'm going to show you, and I still have to do this, I'm going to try and film this, is to create a free website and then to put up your documents on that website. And then just leave it standing there. So it's just like getting your witness, getting your testimony out in languages you don't speak, you've got no idea about, but you want to follow the Great Commission in Mark 16 and in Matthew 24, that this gospel will be preached to all nations, and in Mark 16, go out to all creation and preach this gospel. And we should concentrate on the areas which are least reached. And this is just one thing to look at. The 1040 window, the biggest missionary challenge. And it's interesting as well, and let me just, before I move on, when you look at these nations around here, when you look at Turkey, the 7 churches in the book of Revelation, they're all based in this part of Turkey here. Don't know whether you can see the mouse or the cursor, the hand. They were all there. Yeah? All of North Africa, when you look at the church fathers, most of them were from North Africa, and that was the cradle of Christianity. So we're looking at Egypt and Libya and Tunisia and all these countries here. So they were all pretty much the cradle of Christianity in the first couple of centuries. We know that Thomas, it's somewhere here in Pakistan. I've been to a place where it's called Taxila in Pakistan. It's about where the cursor is pointing to. It's in the north of Punjab, and Thomas was meant to have preached there and preached the gospel right there in Taxila in Pakistan. And I had the privilege of being there and seeing the area for myself. He's supposed to have been all the way to India. I'm not sure whether he made it to China, but I'm pretty sure that there was a Christian witness to China in the first century. So they were all there, but something happened. I mean, India was never fully reached. Pakistan, there were a couple of revivals, and a lot of people did come to Christ. There's still, the Middle East, when you look at this region here, up to the 19th century, the 1900s, about 20% of the population were Christian. The figure today is like 5% or even less. So you had like Christian towns and villages, and there was a Christian witness there. Something happened with North Africa, that Christianity was almost totally eradicated with the onslaught of Islam. In Japan, there was an outreach, a Christian outreach, but you had the what are they called? Can't think of the name, but there was a group of people who were very much working to eradicate Christianity from Japan. And I can't think of the name, and it's on the tip of my tongue, I can't think of it. In China, there was the Boxer Rebellion that was pretty much the same thing. They didn't want Christianity there, and they kicked it out. Now, bearing in mind that the gospel has to be preached to all nations, it hasn't got to be accepted to all nations. And our job is to reach out to all nations and to preach the gospel. Right. I'll leave it at that for now, and I want to encourage you to just, the same stuff of what I've just done now, to to do this. And to get those documents uploaded, stick them out up on the web somewhere, write your own story, put them onto blogging sites, create your own websites, just stick them out there, and just leave them there. And obviously, if I do it by myself, there might be just a few people here and there who stumble over it. But if you do it and you tell others to do it, and especially if you've got a vision to reach out to the unreached countries which have not been reached and put it up in their languages, the more of us are doing it, the more people will hear the gospel. And we just need a couple of people saved in a nation that's otherwise unreached, and it can start a wildfire of conversions, of people coming to know Christ. So I just want to encourage you to engage in this and to give it a go. Okay. Yeah, okay. We are looking now at how to put everything you've done on a website. So I'm just going to give you one example. There are a lot more examples you can, or a lot more possibilities, a lot more ways you can do it. But let's keep it free. Let's make it very simple and straightforward. There's WordPress.com, and they're very simple. It's very simple website software, and once you get into it, you can actually do quite some amazing stuff, very professional looking websites. But obviously all we want to do is we've got a bunch of texts in different languages. We want to make them available and we want to spread the gospel to all nations. That's really what we are here for, and that's what the website is all about. So we need to put this website up and wait for the search engines to pick up on it, and possibly for people who are looking to find out about Jesus Christ to pick up on these websites. And it's basically just a matter of creating them and letting them sit there. I'm not sure whether I made this point before, but I've heard some very disturbing figures, and that is that I think it's about 60 or 70% of web traffic is porn related. I'm not sure how true these figures are. You always have to be very careful with statistics and what people come up with, but it's quite disturbing when you look that most of the internet is used, and I think this is probably pretty much a safe statement, for nefarious or illicit or depraved purposes. And how much more should we spread the gospel out there, at least make it available for people who get fed up with it all and see the emptiness of it all, to find true meaning and a true relationship with the living God in their lives. Okay, anyway, have a look at this one. This is WordPress.com. I'm just going to highlight this. That's all where you need to go for, and you've got an option to either pay for it. It's not very expensive if you have a paid version, but just to make sure you're happy with this, I would always go for a free one, try it out, and if you really want to go to town with it, then possibly go for a paid version. You put your email address in, you choose a username, choose a password, and then you can create your account. I'm gonna try and do it with Google. Okay. With the account which is already, use a Google account, which you probably have if you are on Chrome or something, or an Apple account, and you can just take it from there. Okay, right, we are here now, and I've clicked on the I've signed in with the Google account, which is already here, and then type in the domain you want here. And again, I'm just going along. I've never done this before with WordPress. I know it's available. I haven't used it, so I'm new to this as well. But the good thing is I'm there where you will be when you do it yourself. Okay, so the next right, we have to think of a domain name. So it's like they put it down there, like example.com. We don't own a domain, but we need to put one, and I think it's going to be domain name, and then there's going to be WordPress at the end of it. So we have to think of something that's reasonably unique. Let's call it Mark 16. All right, Mark 16. So that's a great Okay, let's have a look. So we can buy a domain name, which we don't want to do. That's free. Let's have a look. Mark 16 WordPress is free. We can't use that one. So let's put on Mark 16 and then the Great Commission. Let's get it right. Commission, is it with 1 or with 2? I think I put 1. Let me just check. So we've got Mark the Great Commission, so we can get this for WordPress. Yeah. I'm not sure about the spelling of commission. Let's get it right. Yeah, no, it's okay. That's fine. The Great Commission. Okay. So so this is free at this point, yeah, and that's the point I'm trying to make, is that all of this is free, so you don't have to you know, get out of expense. But even though, I mean, when you look at this is £15. It's about $20–25. I'm not sure, about 16 euros or something. So wherever you are, it's not that expensive to get your domain. But obviously, when you add it all together, like the with the WordPress version, which is not free, and then you buy the domain, you buy other bits and bobs, and sometimes, you know, by the time you're done, you end up with a bill of £50 to £100, or like $100 to $200 or something. But again, it's not the end of the world, but for some of you, now it's quite expensive, and especially if you've got several websites. So for example, maybe you want to create a Vietnamese website, or you get a burden for North Korea, or let me give you some other languages, Persia, yeah, in the Middle East, or in Arabic, and you want to dedicate a website in Arabic, then you can have your own website for each language you're trying to get. Okay, so we've got Mark 16, the Great Commission, at WordPress.com. Yeah. A Christian should know what it is. Okay, WordPress tells us hooray, it will be ready in a few minutes. Okay, so now we've got this website here. Your website is being created, and we've got this interface. Design. Okay, let's have a look, see what the design is. Customize themes. There are a couple of themes which I'm familiar with WordPress. There are also a lot of themes I'm not that familiar with. Let's see whether I find my my favorite one. Current theme is Ava. I don't know. Let's have a look. I mean, as I said, you know, this is real time. I'm just gonna go through it. I know if you're watching this on YouTube, it might be horrendously boring, so feel free to stream forward on YouTube. So in the end, my plan is to get all these film snippets, put it all together, and then sort of try to make it easy for you, and you can follow what I'm doing. That's the whole purpose. You don't have to, obviously. This is more meant to kick you off, you know, just kick you into motion to do something. And maybe if you've got a free, you know, Saturday afternoon or something, I can see as well the price tags with these themes. There are premium themes. Are these free? Okay. Anyway, I don't know. Right, let's have a look, see what it looks like for the Mark 16 for the viewer. The Great Commission .wordpress.com. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, it says launch site. Site title, okay, launch site. Okay, now this is a WordPress thing to do it, just some advertising. The site hasn't been launched, only you can see it until it is launched. Okay, I've got that. Let's go back to this one here. Okay, install theme. Right, so we install the theme. Okay, go back. Is this where they get us? I don't know. Right. Free domain plan with upgrade, my home. Okay, let's see if we can name your site. Site title. Okay, let's put this in here. Finding Jesus Christ. What does it mean? Let me just. What does it mean to be a Christian? Okay, so save whatever we've done. What else have we got? We've got English, time zone is London, launch site. The site hasn't been launched, it is in from visitors behind the coming soon notice launch. Okay, so we're going to launch the site, see what it comes out with. Okay, skip purchase. Yeah. Did it say skip to purchase? I don't know. Go back. You see, these are the things that they obviously try to make you pay for it, which is fair enough. I mean, that's what they're all about. But I'll continue with your free site. Here we go. So you just have to look out for. They try to make you to pay for it, but as I said, like, you know, if you're happy with it and you think this is okay, this is great, then go for it. So it's establishing secure connection. So the site should be up there in a minute. Anyway, once we are done, your site is being launched. Okay, let's have a look. Mark, the Great Commission. Finding Jesus Christ, what does it mean to be a Christian? Okay. Welcome to your new site. Okay, we've got some blog things here, contact, a couple of other things. Right, let's have a look, learn more. Right, we go back to our first page here. Right, edit homepage, add a page, here we go. Edit homepage. We might stick this link, this YouTube video on as well at a later stage, so you can see it on the site as well. But again, this video is for Christians, it's not for non-Christians. The site is meant to be for non-Christians. Welcome to your new website. So next. Right. Latest blog. Welcome to your new site. Add blog. Let's have a look what we get here. Markdown, heading, code. Okay, it gets all a bit complex here. Preview. Don't really want to go there. Right. Okay, we need to find out where the pages are and then go through it. As I said, switch to draft. Let's have a look. Mark agreement issue to unpublishable cancel. Upload. Yeah, it takes some time to get used to it. Once you get used to it, they're very easy to work with. I used to do a lot with this in the past, um, but it's been changing ever since. And at one stage, I sort of gave up a little bit on these patterns. Um, right, I'm gonna do a little bit more searching here. I'm just sort of clicking randomly through. I'm not really knowing what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna pause the video and then carry on in a minute once I know what I'm doing. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to upload different languages, and we're going to publish them on one site. And you can obviously, once this video is done, you should be able to go to the site and check it out and do better than me. You know, that's a key one. Just make a better job than what I'm doing. And you know, just start developing a little bit. Bearing in mind the internet is full of rubbish stuff that's meant to distract people from the really important things in life. You know, things which are morally just despicable. Again, to suck people into the abyss of. I mean, if this is true that the majority of the internet traffic is down to pornography and pornographic sites, you know, it's just people getting them addicted to bad stuff. Yeah, and then you know to get them away from God. And I think this is the strategy of the enemy, to try and deceive people into, you know, finding some fulfillment into something that leaves them empty afterwards and possibly feeling dirty and uneasy. And so, I mean, what we need to do is we need to obviously provide something, put something out there, and there is tons of stuff out there. But the emphasis here is also to look at to nations and languages where the Christian witness is very very meager, and one of and maybe just aim at that. I mean, one of them is a 1040 window, and I talked about this earlier, but you've got a lot of languages which are represented in there, and of people groups who are not reached very well. In the African countries, you've got a lot of French-speaking countries, Islamic French-speaking countries. Now, the French are not big on, they're not vast numbers of born-again Christians in France, so that in itself is probably a target group where we need to put some stuff out there to let French people know that Jesus Christ is not just you know, the Catholic version, but that he is real for today, that he will provide salvation. He's not just a figure on a cross telling us we all need to suffer, but he is real. He's bringing freedom, and he's bringing new life to people. We've got, what else have we got in the 1040 window? Let me just pull it up again. You know, I think it's important to do this, and to maybe just reiterate this stuff. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling on. I just think it's really important and it's close to my heart. And so I think we should talk about this. And we get like window companies. 1040 window, we've got this here. It's not double glazing, the 1040 window. And it's not about glasses. It would be maybe 2020. Okay, so you can see this here, and that's a 1040 window, the least evangelized region. And when you look at those countries here, a lot of them are French speaking, or they speak French as a second language. They've got some Arabic dialect. Some are English speaking, some have got their own little languages. So I think it's all French, everything we see here, more or less. And I think Berber, some sort of Arabic dialect they speak. Then we've got the Arabic Peninsula, so this is all Arabic. We've got Turkey as well, which is one of the least evangelized nations. Then here we've got Iran. Iran is Farsi spoken. The Afghani speak sort of similar dialect. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how close the languages are, but might be something as well to look into this, to try and get this. We've got like all the Istans, like Kazakhstan, Dagestan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. Yeah. Even though there's been quite a bit of a witness there with Christians who were moved into these regions, still a challenge there. Then we've got Pakistan and India. India is a big black spot. We've got Nepal, same thing. We've got China. China probably I think thanks to the revival that's been there, there might per capita possibly more Christians than anywhere else. The same with South Korea, which we've got here. South Korea, a very Christian nation now. From nothing within about 1 or 2 generations. North Korea, completely atheistic, and there might be a challenge as well to get in there. Internet is very controlled. Everything is controlled. It's very difficult. Maybe shortwave radio would be an answer to reach out to this nation. It's just something I'm thinking out of the top of my mind, and maybe you can latch onto it. And there are a lot of shortwave radio stations now, and shortwave, by the way, goes into the ionosphere, and you can broadcast over vast distances. It's not that popular anymore because we've got the internet, but it used to be the internet of the not the internet, but you could listen to stuff from other countries. It was quite popular in the 80s, 70s, 60s, possibly 90s as well, and then we had satellite communications and the internet came. But there are a lot of shortwave broadcasters or shortwave radio stations who struggle to sell airtime, and it's maybe, if you get a burden for North Korea, it might be time to hook up with some South Korean Christians to get some material that speak the same language, and then beam into North Korea. We've got Japan as well, which is very, very badly evangelized. Yeah, so there's very few Christians there. Last time I spoke about this, I was looking for a group of people who were very, very much against Christians. They were the so-called samurai. Yeah, they were very much opposed to the first Christian missionaries, and they did a very good job in exterminating them from the country. And I think there might be something like a curse on the country because they rejected the gospel. It's been preached to them, but they rejected it. But again, if you've got an outreach and a burden for these people, go for it. We've got countries as well, like down here, Indonesia and other countries, where there's a Christian witness there, but it's not very strong. And then we've got all these Vietnam, Cambodia, Burma. I don't think it's called Burma anymore. Anyway, all these countries here as well, sort of Indochina, this district, and maybe you can just focus and concentrate on one country. And bear in mind that I was looking at figures recently, and it's about half the world's population is kitted out with mobile phones and internet access. So we are getting very close, and even in those countries, I've seen this in Africa when I was there, that people didn't have enough to eat, and they were living in mud huts. But what they have is they've got a solar panel and they've got a mobile phone, and they keep it charged up and they keep it going, and that's for them is very, very important. And that's the chance as well. And they may not have bandwidth. That's what I found with Africa. So if you wanted to talk to them over the phone, the bandwidth is very limited. But stuff on low bandwidth like audio and what's it called? Audio and the written word, which is really low bandwidth. It's easy to come through. Again, what could you put on a website? It could be testimonies, stick them into Google Translate and put them out there. Especially Muslims who come to Christ. There are loads of them out there, and you can use them and do the same thing as what I've done with my stuff, and just pump it up there, pump it on a website, free website we are just creating here, and let it just sit there and let it do its thing. It's all about sowing seed. It's not necessarily about success rates or anything like that, but we need to sow seeds, and that's very important. And that's really what this talk is all about. Okay, what is my challenge to you? I don't know who you are. You're listening to this video on YouTube. My challenge to you, number one, is, I don't want you to do stuff God doesn't want you to do. That's the first thing. My challenge to you is think about the Great Commission, Mark 16, and pray about it, and see whether God places anything on your heart. And if He places a burden on your heart for any of these countries, you don't need to be a great missionary. And I don't believe that this is a time for people who go to Bible college for 5 years, get sponsored by 10 different churches, make a career out of, going out into, into some jungle area and, well educated, well prepared, preach the gospel and, give them a written language, translate the New Testament into the language and things like that. I think there's a time for that, and there's a time and season for that, but I think we don't have much time left. That's my opinion. So the time we've got today is a time of just getting to it, setting some time apart. And I tell you as well, and I find this with myself all the time, when I try to do something like this, these talks, I get sidetracked by a million things. People want stuff from me. They want me to do something for them. They want to come and visit. Whatever, yeah. But there are a million reasons why I can't carry on with this. And what you really need to do is like you go to work, try and set some time apart. Once you know that this is what God wants you to do, and just go for it and do it. Spend some time, try and do this. And my challenge to you is just to pray about it. Maybe pray about a particular nation God places on your heart. Like what I'm doing, just 100 and... I mean, you might say, all right, that's it, I'm doing the world. That's what I'm doing, and that's my project. And I'm going to create a website where every language in this world I can possibly find and get hold of and get translation software hold of, I'm going to stick something on there. And that is good, and go for that. But it may just be one particular country. It may be Nepal. It may be Tibet. It may be, I don't know, it may be the Welsh people or the Gaelic people in this country, Gaelic-speaking people. Put something up in Gaelic, and I'm sure, there's not that much stuff in Gaelic out there. If you put up a website in Gaelic, it's going to be read, and it might be read by some lost soul who really needs to find Jesus, and that might be the key. Who knows? But look at this, and look at not just obviously the 1040 window. Look at other countries as well. I mean, we've got all of Europe here. There's my mouse. Here. We've got all of Europe, and there are regions which are very, very poorly represented with the gospel. One of them is France. Belgium, same thing. There are not many Christians in Belgium. What else have we got? We've got Poland, which is, again, there's a Christian witness, but it's full of Catholicism. Then we've got, obviously, Russia, the vast Russian Empire, and a lot of Russian-speaking people, including all the Istans, like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and all the Istans, They do speak Russian as well. Then we've got Mongolia, again one of the least reached regions in the world, and not part of the 1040 window, but there might be something as well where you think, let's reach out to Mongolia and put something up in Mongolian. And again, I mean, what I would do is, obviously try and get the Gospel of John, try and get some scripture into the language, and with the translation software you can possibly do this. Get a testimony, some stories out there. Try to put something up that Mongolian people can relate to if you were to go for Mongolia, and then maybe get some audio stuff as well, if you can, and you manage to get hold of some stuff. Get hold of some Mongolian music, Christian music, and stick it on the website as well. So it's just sort of an all-around approach, and just make sure it's all aimed at leading people to Christ, and then trying to help them in the first steps of the Christian life. That they know what to do and they know what to state up. I mean, there are stories about all over the world of weird stuff happening. When you look at this region here, let's have a look. We've got Iraq here. That's Iraq. We see the cursor. And when you look in northern Iraq, there's an area which some people would like to call it Kurdistan. I think if I called it Kurdistan and there was a Turkish guy here, they would give me a very hard time about this. But there are a lot of Kurdish people living in this area here. So that's in Syria, that's in Iraq and in Turkey. And anyway, something happened in the northern region of Iraq, and they found that there were Christian churches, but sort of the Christian ministries who went out there knew that there was no Christian missionary effort into this region, into this area. So they wondered what was going on, and what they found out is that people just had dreams about Jesus, and they became Christians based on that dream, and they started following Jesus. And there were churches, a couple of hundred people strong, and they all had a similar experience. They just One morning they woke up and they knew that Jesus is Lord. They knew that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. And they knew that they had to do something about it. And so they started just getting this grassroots church off the ground. And they were meeting, praying, and worshipping the Lord. And in an area which is very much opposed to anything to do with Christianity. Very difficult area. But they went for it. They had a good time. And I'm not sure what's happening today, but I heard this about 10 years ago. So you find that there are all it sometimes needs is just a little seed to like a little seed to be thrown on good soil, and it'll come up, and something beautiful is going to grow out of it. Right, I'm gonna have a look at WordPress, and then once I figured this out, I'm going to show you how to do it, and then that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you get a little bit of. I don't know if it's for you. I'm sure you may get the appetite of doing something, and if not, that's fine as well. Okay, I'm back on the WordPress website. I found out how to do this. It's easier than what I thought. So all you do is you just click on this thing here. Let me see. Click on cancel. So all you do is you just click on here, and you can actually edit this, and let's put some more lines in here. So I'm just going through the website here. Okay, welcome to this site. Here you will find here you will read my story of how I found Jesus Christ in my life. In several languages. Okay. So that's all. Just leave it at that. Yeah. Add block. Can we add a block? We can add a paragraph, a heading. Just a paragraph. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna look for the English version. Have you got some other things which you can stick on the website? You can search for block, markdown, heading, code, table, pull quote, verse. Okay, so I'm just gonna look for the English version of my my site. Great Commission. No, I don't know where I've saved them. I think did I put them into I'm just gonna try and find the documents I created earlier. Okay, I did find the files in the end, so we're just gonna open them up. Let's have a look. English. So that's just the stuff I've written up before. Should come up. Don't know where it is. Has it crashed? Yeah, the little hourglass is going. Here we go. So that's the testimony. So I'm just going to highlight it. Copy. Let's see whether we can put this on the first page. So start writing. Okay, so we're going to paste it in here. Let's have a look what it looks like. Okay, yeah. So we've got like a lot of text here. So that's on the first line. Okay. So what you have to do is you just have to update this. So this becomes live now, and it's available. So it's been updated. Now we want to add a page, and again I'm not quite sure how to do this. Let's have a look. Click on here, layout grid, paragraph, heading. Okay. Click on this plus point here. We want another search block. I have to say I'm a newbie to this as well. But it's not that hard when you look at WordPress. It's just a matter of getting into it and familiarizing yourself, and bearing in mind, if you do it for free, you know, the worst thing that can happen is you'll waste a bit of time if you don't get it right, but you're not gonna lose out on anything other than time, and it probably beats sitting in front of the telly or doing some other stuff. If nothing, you get to learn a little bit about this. Okay, I'm gonna try to get another page going. Okay, so that's not block. Let's have a look at block. No block selected. Right, and I'm kind of stuck here, so I'm not sure what to do. So let's have a look. Full screen mode, editor, visual code editor, visual editor. So we've done this. We don't have any jetpacks, global styles. We've done the update. Plus. Let's click on plus again, see whether we can find a page. Or blog, or something. It gives us lots of stuff to stick in the text. Doesn't give us anything about another page so far, which would be there. Also, you notice you can integrate YouTube here, you can embed YouTube videos. So this is one thing I wanted to show you is you can create a YouTube video by using the translation and just letting it talk through. But you need some video software, but that's maybe a different thing. But it's possible to do this, you know, to get the gospel out into a country you don't know the language of, but you feel a burden for. Okay, I'm stuck here. Let me just put you on pause again, and I don't want to waste your time, and I'm going to see how I can add another page to stick some other languages on. Okay, let's kick the video back in again. Sorry for that, for the little breaks. I mean, obviously on the video it just goes smoothly from one to the other, but I'm you know, revisiting this whole WordPress thing. So if you click on the W here on WordPress, down here, right at the bottom, you've got Add New Page. So when you click on this Add New Page, again, I have to wait a little bit, but it comes up with a template. And I just click on blank, and then it says use blank layout, and I can start writing. So again, I go to the files I've written earlier, and let's open it. So let's see whether we can do this in Arabic. Right, okay, so that's going to be quite hard, so let me click on select all. Have I got select all in here? Edit. Should be here somewhere. Ah, here we go. Select all, Control A. It doesn't capture that bit. There's some words which are outside this frame, and I'm a little bit worried about this, but anyway, let's try it again. It's as good as we can. Okay, go again. Select all, so it's Control A, Control A, Control C. So that's for copy. So I copied it. So again, I select all. I forgot select all here, and then you go to copy, Control C. So we're going to click this away. Click this away. A title. I just write down my story, and then Arabic. Hopefully, it's a little bit of English. Arab speakers can do. And let's see what happens, because these are letters which may not be part of WordPress. But yeah, it seems to be okay. It seems to all come through. So we've got this. Then we're just going to click on Publish. And it should should come out. And again, the thing is search engines and things like that. Try again, publish. So it says updating. So it's now live. Okay, let's have a look and see whether we can find this. So we've got WordPress. Okay, let's try it here with a new window. So we're going to try. Right, let's WordPress. So just stick it in here, and it's Mark 16. Mark 16, the Great Commission. Web, and then .wordpress.com. We don't want the learn one. So anyway, it's got Finding Jesus Christ on here. It recognizes that it is on my site. Oops, that page can't be found. Oh, that's the learn one. Let's have a look. Go to the basic page. Welcome to this website, and so on. So that's a little story to start off with. There's some blocks, I need to get rid of them. I'm not sure how at this stage, but we do this. So we've got home. We should find those pages somehow. About contact. Okay, I need to put those pages here as well. So when I go into on here, no, we're still getting to the right. Okay, I need to go into incognito window so that it doesn't know that I'm the owner of the website. So Mark 16. So what this does is incognito window, Mark 16, the Great Commission. It doesn't look at cookies, so it doesn't know who I am, and it should give me the website the way everybody else would see it without being logged in with my credentials. So we close and accept. So we've got, this is the story right at the beginning, so that's a story in English. We need to get rid of this bit down here. We'll do this. We've got the block thing. Okay, this comes up here. I need to change this somehow. We've got an about. Introduce yourself and who I am. So obviously that's not me, but that just comes with WordPress. And then contact as well. Obviously it's up to you whether you leave a contact in there as well. It might be worthwhile. If you go into difficult countries, be careful. That's my suggestion to you. Try and anonymize yourself a little bit. Right, I need to find the page which I've put up. Let me see whether we can find them. We need to make them visible. There are ways of doing so in WordPress. Are there some pages right at the bottom? No. Right. And again, we can see straight away there are some problems here. By the way, that's not my address. That's just some stuff that comes up there. I haven't sorted those pages out. Okay, let's do a little bit more digging to try to get those pages working. Anyway, but before I just start off to showing you how to get those pages to go. So when you get on the first page, again, you just click on the W, click on the bottom here, and it says Add New Page. The pages become visible here. So I've got my story in Arabic and my story in English. And I just need to make those pages visible, and we'll find out how to do this. Okay. Right, I've just been sort of trying to go through it all, and it's sort of not quite working right. Anyway, it's just a trial, and you might spend some time with it, get it better. So let's have a look. We're gonna open up another my story. I'm just gonna do one more, see what we have, what we can open up. What have we got? We've got Arabic, German, English, French. French is important, yeah. A big problem there with French. So we're gonna open it up. So that's my story in French, and highlight the whole thing. It goes further on the next page. Okay, just to be in the same side, go to select all, which is Control A, and then we go to Edit and Control C for copy. So we've got it all. So my story, French. Okay, so I'm gonna go here and just paste the whole thing. And we've got the story here in French. I'm just going to click on Publish. By the way, even though you may not be able to see it, there's going to be a link, and you can see the link up here. So if you stick that link in, WordPress page, Mark Great Commission, and then page 47, that page will come up. Yeah. So if search engines have found something, and yeah, okay. So I'm going to go to Publish. So that's going to be online. There's a link as well, so you can link it with another website as well. These are the recent pages. So we've got my story Arabic. If I lost my story in English, yeah, it doesn't seem to be there. Okay, right, let's go on here. And I'm missing something here. I'm getting myself in a tiffy a little bit. So view pages. So there are the pages. The pages are here. Yeah. Okay. Right, so these are, I try to put them on there. So what you can do is you can, let me see whether I've got this here. So we've got tools, is it as part of tools? It's not. Design, Jetpack feedback. Somewhere there's a menu. And when I go into menu, I can set it up. It didn't work too well when I just tried it. Settings, plugins. Oh, I didn't do it. Let's have another look at my site. Media Commons Design. Customize themes. Customize, that's the one, not menu. Customize. If you click on Customize, you can actually put it up there, but it didn't reflect it. So for example, I can look at menus. That's where I wanted to go to. I go to primary menu and I can add items. Yeah. Now I've got my story in French, and I add the item, and you can see this is what it should look at the home page, where I should have my story English, my story Arabic, my story French, and that should come up. It doesn't at this stage, but it might be that there's either a problem. Let me just try save the changes, and I'm going to go to the incognito tab. That's the incognito tab, so it should show up like that on here, but it doesn't at the moment. Yes, it does now. It didn't do before. Yeah. So you've got this menu bar up here. I've taken blocks out, and then you can take about and contact out as well. And when you click on my story French, it'll come up, and you've got the story here in French, and then my story Arabic. So it works now. It did take some time to get through. Yeah, so all this comes up as well. And also bear in mind, I mean, this is going to be spied up by search engines, and it'll come through. Shall we go a little bit more extreme and do one more? Maybe we get it to work. Okay, so I'm going to go back with the menu. It is a little bit sort of finicky. That's a term I like to use, where you need to just get your head around a little bit the whole thing. So we've got this. Go to my site. No, I don't want to add a new site. I want to add a new page. Is it doing something? No. Oh dear. What have we done? Edit homepage, add a page. Here we go. Oh, we can do it from here now. So we add a page from there. It's just a matter, just getting around and looking a little bit. So doing something. Select layout. We want to use a blank layout. And let's have a look. We're going to see what other pages we have. So I'm going to go into my word processing software, and bear in mind that's OpenOffice. It's a free package. You can download it for free. What have we got? We've got Spanish, simplified Chinese. I mean, that's going to be quite a challenge. Let's see whether it comes up. Yeah, simplified Chinese. So we're going to do the usual thing. So it's Control A for select all, then Control C. And right, so we're going to go back into my story Chinese, in Chinese. Right, we're going to start writing. Let's see whether it copes with Chinese letters. Yeah, so we've got the Chinese letters here. And we've got it in Latin letters below. Yeah. So again, we're going to click on Publish. Yeah, so it's updating it. My story in Chinese is now live. Okay, and I'm going to try and show you to see whether I get through it again, how to do this with all the different settings. And I'm struggling already. I'm making mistakes here. Let me just take this down. So we've done the update. Okay, is it this one? No, it's not. I want to go, I try to go back to the menus. Let's click on this one here, my home. Yeah, there's the app page sign again. Right, this is a problem. It's not hard and difficult. It's just a lot of clicking around to get all this done. So we've got ad block. What's this one here? Outline. Update. Page 2 revisions. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Okay, let me just go back to the original site. So we've got Mark 16, thegreatcommission.com. So it's all been saved. The thing should be there. We just need to try to get it up here to the menu. So we're going to click on my site here, and it should come up with a menu now. And yeah, there it is again. So we click on Customize now. And we click on Menus, Primary Menu, Add Items, and we've got the story in Chinese. Yeah, we save changes, and it should be on the side. Let's have a look on the incognito window, which just looks at the site the way it is. So we've got my story in Arabic. So we go on the side, and we've got my story in Chinese. So it comes up now straight away. So you can populate all this with things you want to do. We still have got the blog page down there, and we need to get rid of this. But we can do this as well. It just takes some time. Okay, I'm going to stop at this point. I think I've given you enough to make a start with WordPress and to, get this thing going. Obviously feel free on YouTube to leave something in the comment section. I try to read them every now and then, so I'm not that quick with it. So please bear with me. But if you've got questions, you can go with that. But I think it should be enough to sort of start setting you on with this. Also bear in mind there are other website builders as well, which you can use, and they're also free ones. Some of them, they just stick you some advertising on. I think with WordPress, you just get advertising for WordPress, for other people to use WordPress as well. A little bit about the history about WordPress is originally it was a blogging software. It was like a blogging site, and that's where, what the site is being built around, which, I mean, is good, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's not commercially, it's not meant to be a commercial website to start off with. It was just for people who just do some blogging and get their ideas out in the big wide world. And anyway, that's what we are doing as well. We are blogging about Jesus Christ, about our story, about what the Lord has done in our lives, and that's important. And we are trying to reach out to the ends of the world. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here. I hope it has been a little bit instructive, but as I said, that the main point is not really that. The main point is get your vision. Pray which countries you should look after, and make it simple. Just upload some resources, get the Gospel of John in that language and upload it if you can get hold of it. Just a simple story of how you came to Christ, maybe a story of other people, stick some pictures in as well, make it a bit more personal, and that's the way to go for it.